Hello everybody, welcome to Sports Source, your number one source of sports, and today we are going to be discussing the Detroit Pistons' disappointing season so far and if they should start rebuilding. But before we do that, smash that like button and subscribe for more NBA news and discussions. Without further ado, let's begin the video. After the Pistons made the playoffs last season, they have now started the 2019-2020 NBA season with a 5-11 record, and they are the 13th seed in the Eastern Conference at the time of this recording. Before the season started, most people expected the Pistons to make it back to the playoffs after acquiring Derrick and still having the duo of Blake Griffin and Drummond. But with a slow start to the season, people are questioning whether the Pistons should make a playoff push or press the restart button and start their rebuild. To determine whether the Pistons should rebuild, we are going to analyze this roster to find out why they have been underperforming, as well as discuss possible moves this team should make. Looking at the statistics, it seems that there isn't many people to blame for this terrible start for the Pistons. Drummond is having the best statistical season of his career. He's averaging 18.5 points, 17 rebounds, 3 assists, with almost 2 steals and 2 blocks a game. Drummond has done very well with Blake Griffin out and has been the Pistons' best player with Blake out. Drummond is a free agent after this season, and his future with the Pistons is questionable. In an interview, he said that he has said that he thinks that free agency will be fun and is excited for the high interest he will receive in the 2020 free agency. If Drummond was going to re-sign with the Pistons, then why would he say this free agency process will be fun if he's just going to be re-signed with the Pistons anyway? Drummond is entering his prime, and he has a chance to play with a team in a better position to win than the Pistons. Drummond will receive a fair amount of interest from teams this season and will heavily consider leaving the Pistons to join a new team. I also think that Drummond, I just want to see him on a different team because I want to see him on a winning team. I want to see if he could put up these crazy statistics on a team that's actually winning games. And on the Pistons, he's not really doing that right now. I want to see Drummond on a contender, and I want to see how he could prove himself and how he could play, and if he could still play at this high statistical level. The 23-year-old former 12th overall pick Luke Kennard is having a breakout year with the Pistons, averaging 16 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists, while shooting 7 threes a game with 37% from 3. Luke Kennard has a huge boost in minutes and opportunity, as well as getting more shots for his team. He's also improved his playmaking and ball handling, which gives him more versatility to his game and more responsibilities on his team. He's getting more ball handling opportunities, and he's also just getting more shots, improving that he's a high scoring option on this team and go-to scorer for the Pistons. Luke Kennard has been very promising this season and is finally starting to show his full potential, and is looking like he could be a good player in this league. He's one of the Pistons' only young players, and they would definitely keep him in the rebuilding process. He's not the type of player you could build a whole team around, but he's still a very valuable player on a championship team due to his shooting, scoring, and improved playmaking abilities. Derrick is getting limited minutes on the Pistons, and for cautionary reasons. He is being conserved by Pistons coach Dwayne Casey. Some people are upset that Derrick Rose isn't getting enough minutes because he has the talent to get more minutes than he is, but I do think that he does play very well in this bench role with limited minutes for the Pistons, as well as there are injury concerns around Derrick Rose, which is why he's not playing as many minutes as he probably should be. Derrick Rose is averaging 18 points and 5 assists this season with very efficient shooting numbers, and in only 24 minutes a game while coming off the bench for the Detroit Pistons. Some players for the Pistons who have come out of nowhere for this team and exceeding their very low expectations include Langston Galloway and Markieff Morris. Langston Galloway is having a career year with the Pistons, averaging 13 points a game with 91% free throw shooting and 44% from 3. As for Markieff Morris, he's averaging 11 points a game while shooting 40% from 3, and we also have guys like Christian Wood and Tony Snell who have been playing good when given the minutes and opportunity on this Pistons team. As you can see, lots of Pistons players are having amazing seasons, but yet this team is still struggling. I don't think there's one specific person to blame for the Pistons' lackluster season, but I do think that injuries have really hindered this team's success. The injury concern was expected with this team, as they have Blake Griffin, who's been injury prone throughout his whole career, as well as Derrick Rose and Reggie Jackson's injury concerns. The big injury concern with this roster is the main reason why I predicted the Pistons to miss the playoffs at the start of the season, but I didn't think that the injuries would take a toll on this team's success this early into the season. This Detroit Pistons team is also just stuck in the middle. They are too far away from contending, but they are also too good to get a top pick in the NBA draft. This is one of the worst positions to be in the NBA. This Pistons team is either a first-round exit or a late lottery pick team. This team doesn't really have a clear direction, and they have some good pieces, but the roster they have just isn't translating into wins. I also feel like this team has hit its ceiling, and if they keep this roster, I feel like there's nowhere for this team to go. Their core players have hit their peak, and their young talent isn't good enough to save this team. This team has hit their peak, and at best, they're an 8th seed in the Eastern Conference. This team hasn't made any significant progress in the past couple of years, and personally, I think it's time to blow it up and start rebuilding. Now this Pistons team does have some assets to start their rebuild with. They have some solid young players like Luke Kennard, as well as their 2019 15th overall pick, Sekou Doumbouya, who is a very raw prospect with lots of potential. They also have Blake Griffin, who is a great player when healthy, and even though he's starting out slow and is getting older and older, I think some teams would still have interest in Blake Griffin as a complementary player to get a team into a contending position. The team being rumored the most is the Portland Trailblazers. The Trailblazers are a team that are underperforming this season, and they also need some forward depth, which a Blake Griffin trade would provide for them. Now, what would a package for Blake Griffin look like? If the Pistons are trading Blake and going to full rebuild mode, I think they would want young players to start their rebuild with, as well as expiring contracts to help balance Blake Griffin's massive contract. I think a good trade package would be the Blazers trading Anthony Simons, Zach Collins, Kent Bazemore, and a lottery-protected first-round pick for Blake Griffin. Pistons would be acquiring Anthony Simons, who has shown glimpses of greatness, and he's a player that I think could be a future all-star with the right development. He has the tools to be great, and he reminds me of CJ McCollum, who is the current teammate of Anthony Simons on the Portland Trailblazers. I don't think Simons will get the right opportunities to succeed in Portland, so for me, he's expendable. I think the Pistons should take a chance on him because he could be a great player in the NBA with the right development. As for Zach Collins, he's another young asset with good potential. He's a former 10th overall pick and was playing solid before he got injured. Collins is a versatile all-around big man who has the potential to be a fringe starter caliber player in the NBA. As for Kent Bazemore, he's making close to $20 million this season, but he's an expiring contract and he's really only in the trade to balance the salary cap. In conclusion, I think it's time for the Pistons to hit the reset button. This team is stuck in no man's land and isn't set up very well for now or even the future. I think it's time to start the rebuild now and cash in on their assets before it's too late. What did you think of the video? Let me know down in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to join Sports Source Nation and to never miss an upload. That's all for me now. I'll see you in the next one. Take care and goodbye.